Take three. This is my persuasive speech. And that's my brother Jeremiah. So, Christians need to slow down and create daily moments of silence where they can recognize God's voice more clearly. When life gets loud, it's amazing how quickly our sense of peace disappears. Even as believers, we can become so caught up in that rush of work, responsibilities, and the constant noise of the world that God's voice becomes increasingly difficult to hear. I know this personally. When I was transitioning out of the army, my mind felt like a storm, noisy, chaotic, restless. One night I finally sat still, alone, and just prayed in total silence. In that quiet moment, I felt a peace that steadied every anxious thought. That single moment changed the way I understood silence as a whole. Today, I want to show why Christians need to slow down and create those daily moments of silence so that they can recognize God's voice more clearly. So we live in a world that trains us from a young age to move fast, to fill every moment with noise. Phones buzzing, TVs humming, constant distractions. And while none of these things in themselves are evil, they crowd out that inner stillness where God often speaks. Gallagher, he explains that self-imposed silence increases our own awareness of the efficacy and listening and the appreciation of the value of listening skills, reminding us that quiet prepares us to hear what is most important. When we never slow down, we lose the ability to notice the gentle nudges God places on our hearts and the little whispers of God. Scripture already warns us about this. Psalms 46 says, "Be still and know that I am God." And being still is not a passive thing, it's a form of obedience. Without silence, we miss wisdom, direction, and the peace that God's always offering. Many Christians today feel spiritually scattered. They're overwhelmed and uncertain. But the deeper issue is not God's absence. It's our lack of quiet space to listen in. The solution, luckily, is simple and incredibly powerful. You just gotta schedule small daily moments of intentional silence. Not just while I'm walking up the stairs. You gotta sit down and decide to be silent. 2 to 5 minutes, no phone, no music, no multitasking. It creates a mental space and spiritual space where God's guidance becomes clearer. Richard Foster, in his book Celebration of Discipline, teaches us that silence creates a sacred space where believers can hear God's voice more clearly and experience that inner transformation. And it's not a theory, that's practice. Silence is spiritual discipline, not an accident. Now imagine how your day would feel if you started not with hurry and stress, but with moments of stillness where you just breathe, quiet your mind, and simply say, "Speak, Lord, I'm listening." Imagine making decisions with more clarity because you're no longer reacting from anxiety and fear, but responding from a place of peace. Imagine feeling less scattered because you've made room for God's presence to settle in your thoughts before the world's noise gets a chance to rush. When Christians practice silence regularly, their spiritual lives don't just get calmer, they get clearer. And let's see, here's one step you can take today. Choose one moment of your day. Morning coffee, lunch break, right before bed, any of those, any moment. And give God 2 minutes of uninterrupted silence. Set a timer if needed. Sit still, listen, let God speak before life shouts. If you do this consistently for 1 week, you will start to notice a difference. Not because silence is magical, it's not, but because it gives God the space he has been waiting for. He's been waiting for those moments where he can whisper to you. And silence, it's not empty. It's full of God's presence. In a world overflowing with noise, Christians, and really everyone, need to slow down and create intentionally those moments of silence so that they can recognize God's voice more clearly. When we choose silence, we don't lose time. We gain direction, peace, and a deeper relationship with the one who loves us. Thank you. Now, do you have any questions?
How is silence different than regular prayer?
So, silence is a form of obedience, and prayer is speaking to God. And it's not a conversation if you're just talking to God. You gotta allow him to speak back. Otherwise, you're just the same as talking to a wall. Because prayer is supposed to be the relationship with you and God and having a conversation.
What should I do when my brain keeps wandering during silence?
Well, the good thing is, that's quite normal. And sometimes your brain might be wandering to what God's telling you. So don't focus on the wandering thoughts, but be aware of them. Don't let your mind run off into a million places. Just try to be calm. Your mind's gonna run. We're built to think.
How long should someone do it if they have not done it before?
Honestly, 1 minute, sitting still, silencing the phone, just sitting there. Take a deep breath and relax. Pray, and then sit there. 1 minute. And if you start increasing that daily, you'll get to that 5 minutes, which I recommend. It's not a science. It's a relationship with God and giving him time to speak back. So starting small is perfectly fine.